Genesis 50:20. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass, as it is this day, to save much people alive. What the enemy meant for evil, God has turned for good. It's a message of hope, redemption, and victory. We'll explore how God can transform even the darkest situations into blessings, using examples and powerful scriptures. Let's start with Joseph's story. Sold into slavery by his own brothers, falsely accused and thrown into prison, Joseph had every reason to lose hope. But God had a plan. In Genesis 50:20, Joseph tells his brothers, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Joseph became second in command of Egypt, saving nations from famine. What seemed like a tragedy became a triumph, orchestrated by God. Have you ever faced a setback that felt devastating? Maybe you lost a job, a relationship, or your health. But Romans 8:28 promises, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose." Your story isn't over. What seems like a dead end could be God redirecting you to something greater, just like Joseph. The ultimate example of God turning evil into good is the cross. The enemy thought he had won when Jesus was crucified, but through his death and resurrection, God brought salvation to the world. As Colossians 2:15 says, having disarmed the powers and authorities, he made a public spectacle of them, triumphing over them by the cross. What looked like defeat became eternal victory. Whatever you're facing today, trust that God can turn it around. The enemy's plans for evil cannot stand against God's purposes for good. Stay encouraged and hold on to his promises. If this message spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear that God is still in control.